refuse to lose. I'm built to win. Apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse. Mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Apply myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. And today we will be grading the Power 5 coaching carousel. If you caught me on the Refuse to Lose show, then you already know I graded 20 different coaching changes in this year's Power 5 conference. Now, I did throw the Pac-12 into the Power 5 out of respect for them being in the Power 5. Previous to the Pac-12 being disbanded to 2 teams. Now, if you don't want to throw them in the Power 5, hey, more power to you, no pun intended, because I feel you. The weakest of the teams in the conference stayed. So I feel you, and it's filled with a lot of Group of 5 schools. The Pac-12 is what now? Colorado State, Boise State, UNLV. No, not UNLV, excuse me. Colorado State, Boise State, Washington State, Oregon State, Texas State. I'm missing the last 3, but they're from the Mountain West, nonetheless. So I feel you, but I'm gonna throw them in the Power 5 out of respect. You feel me? So we got 20 coaches to go over today. This episode took me a long time to write. So hopefully y'all enjoy the content. If you haven't already, please like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel. If you're watching from the R2L YouTube, please subscribe to the Carl Talking College YouTube channel as well. But without further ado, because like I said, we got a lot to go over. We're just gonna jump right into it, and we're gonna start. If you know me, you know I like to go in alphabetical order. We're gonna start with the ACC. Now the ACC, I believe, had 4. The ACC had 3 coaching changes. The first one we're gonna go over is Cal, and it kind of sucked for me, but at the end of the day, I think it was time. I was sad to see Coach Justin Wilcox leave. But out is Coach Justin Wilcox. In is Coach Taj Lapoy coming in for the Cal Golden Bears. Now, this is his first head coaching job at the collegiate level. So, first of all, salute to him for that. That is a big thing. He's taking over a team who has a pretty promising quarterback now walking into his sophomore year, and Jaron Kiwe Sagaputele, JKS. So what? Oh, I forgot. I had this as a ticker. My lord. Let me change that real quick. I'm like, why is it picking between the 2? So he has his quarterback, and he better like him. So he got a quarterback, got to fill the rest around him. But here's some things about Taj Lapoy. Taj Lapoy was the DC at Oregon from 2022 to 2025. While at Oregon, their scoring defenses were as follows. 2022, 27.4 points per game, which was 74th in the country. 2023, 16.5 points per game, which is 9th in the country. 2024, 19.4 points per game, which was 16th in the country. And 2025, 17.9 points per game, which was 12th in the country. So he had the one hiccup, the one outlier in 2022. But beyond that, he didn't give up any more than 20 points a game at Oregon, which is insane. And last year, for sure, they were a really good defense. So shout out to Tosh Lapoy for doing a great job, first of all, as a defensive coordinator for the Oregon Ducks. Now he was also on the staff for Alabama from 2014 to 2018, being the co-DC in 2017 and the flat-out DC in co-DC in 2017 and flat-out being the DC in 2018. So salute to him for that. He does have NFL experience. He was the D-line coach for the 2019 Cleveland Browns. He was the 2020 Falcons D-line coach and the 2021 Jacksonville Jaguars D-line coach. So he has years of NFL experience previous to his Oregon DC days. He started at Cal as a D-line coach. So he's back to where he first started originally. He was a D-line coach at Cal from 2008 to 2011. So that's big. He's already has roots within the program. And my final synopsis on Tosh Lapoy. By the way, he was on when he was at Alabama. I believe they won a national championship. So he has been a part of a national championship staff. But my last synopsis: defensive-minded head coach taking over a should-be explosive offensive team. Now they did lose two receivers in Jacob DeJesus and I'm blanking on the other receiver name, but I think it's Tron Grizel, and I think they also lost Kendrick Raphael as well at running back. But they still should be explosive, should bring the needed element of defense to compete for conference titles. But nonetheless, they did have players like Noah Williams, who had like 7 picks at Cal, Hezekiah Masses, who had like 6 picks at Cal last year, who was also another good DB. So they had some defensive players. Unfortunately, K. Ulave has transferred out, which that would have been a big centerpiece if he was able to keep him at linebacker. He's at BYU. But he is going to bring that missing element of defense to compete for a conference title or possibly compete for a conference title. Was on a national championship staff at 2015 and 2017 at Bama. So the grade I gave Tosh Lapoy at Cal, I gave it a B-. Why? First time head coaches normally to me start off in C- to C+ range, right? So they start off C-, C+ in that range because it's their first time. We don't have anything like experience-wise to go for as a head coach. Now, what can raise them up, in my opinion, is one, being rooted in the program, which Tosh Lapoy is. 2, being really good at your job. So, for example, his DC days, he was really good at Oregon as a DC, not giving up no more than 20 points after his first year, which was 2022, where he gave up 27.4 points per game. And 3, being a really good player at the university you were at. So, for example, later on, we'll talk about Colin Klein at K-State, who was an all Big 12 quarterback from 2011 and 2012 at K-State. That can raise your grade to me. So I gave him a B-. I think the defensive element that he can bring, being a really good DC, is top notch. It's tough. He has a quarterback and JKS who he can build around. And I like the hire. He just got, it's his first year, so we gotta give him a little grace. B-. Shout out to Pancho Loco, P8R. This is a collegiate football show. I'm not a Chargers fan, by the way. I'm a Ravens fan. But I guess I'll answer your question. Who's my favorite San Diego Charger of all time? It's probably LT. It has to be LT, right? To keep it on the collegiate side of things, a TCU Horned Frog. But I appreciate you being here. Hopefully you like, comment, share, subscribe to the R2L channel as well as the Carl Talking College channel. But we'll move on. From Cal to, we have to talk about Stanford. Stanford is hiring another coach yet again. Gone is Frank Wright, who didn't even make it through the end of the year. He was on a 1-year deal anyway. And Andrew Luck and the Stanford Cardinal has now hired Tavita Pritchard, which this is also his first head coaching job. So salute to Tavita Coach Pritchard for his first college job as well. Definitely salute to that. As I got it. I gotta get you out of here. Yeah, let's put you in timeout. But salute to Coach Pritchard on collecting his first on getting his first head coaching job. Now, last year, his previous job, he was the Commanders quarterback coach from 2023 to 2025. So I don't understand why this is still happening. All right, we just gonna have to do that. But anyway, that's it. Bro, huh? Okay, here we go. I'm about to say, I don't know how this is continuing to happen. That was about to make me nervous for a second. We finally got that taken care of. But, like I said, a Commanders quarterback coach from 2023 to 2025. Started at Stanford 2011 to 2012. He was a defensive assistant. So, again, rooted in the program. And that was also the year after Luck got drafted. Because Luck was in the, I believe, 2012 draft. No, so he was there Luck's last year at Stanford. 2018 to 2022, he was the OC / quarterback coach at Stanford. Where in 2018 they averaged 28.4 points per game. Was for 72nd. 2019, 21.7 points per game, tied 108th. 2020, it went up to 29.3, which was 56 in the country. 2021, it was 20.4. It was a drastic drop at 113th. And 2022, it was 21.3, 108th in the country, which is another drop. So my final synopsis with Coach Tavita Pritchard. I put an offensive-minded head coach who not only coached his whole college football career at Stanford, but played quarterback at Stanford from 06 to 09. Stanford is still at a bad place, even though they're coming off their best season since 2020, where they went 4-2 in the shortened season. Their best season, full season 2019. I gave it a C+. I'm not too big on this move, to be honest. When he was an OC at Stanford, it was mainly bad. Just being honest. It was mainly bad. Not necessarily good. He had one outlier middle of the country year in 2020, which was the shortened year, which was their best year. But beyond that, 3 out of the 5 years as an OC, he was in the hundreds. And for reference, I think it's 137, 138 FBS colleges now. But back then, it was even less, probably a good 130, if that. So he was triple digits. I gave him, the only reason why I gave it a plus is because he's coached his career, his entire career at Stanford. He has some familiarity with Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck has to have some faith in this guy that I don't have, but I'm not really a fan of this move for Stanford. Stanford needs somebody with that cachet. They need a guy who's known to turn programs around. They need a Matt Campbell type of guy, which obviously they weren't getting Matt Campbell. But I'm just saying a guy like a Signetti who's been known to turn programs around, even a Matt Rule, Dave Aranda, I think, Baylor, somebody to turn programs around, and this isn't it. So I gave it a C+. Not really a fan here. Sorry, Coach. Appreciate you, Asa RETV, for showing up, for sure. Shout out to Wyatt Dimmers for showing out, for sure. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. And I don't know what you mean by we all 2026 Marcus Cardona. Please enlighten me because I'm confused. But I appreciate everybody for being here. And now we move on to the last ACC team that we're here to talk about, and that is Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech went out and hired James Franklin, and if you remember earlier in the actual year, not the athletic year, I called this when James Franklin was let go by Penn State and Coach Brent Pride was let go by Virginia Tech. I said that James Franklin is going to Virginia Tech, and that is exactly what happened. So that is a salute to them, I think this is. I'm obviously give the grade, but obviously I think it's a good hire if I called it. So anyway, James Franklin, his previous head coaching job previous to this was at Penn State. This is his third head coaching job. Previous to Penn State, he was at Vanderbilt. At Vandy, he had 2 9-win seasons, which was 2012 and 2013. Salute to Daniel, man. Shout out to Daniel. Appreciate you for being here as always. But he had 2 winning seasons, 2012 and 2013 at Vanderbilt. He took over Penn State after Bill O'Brien, Bill O'Brien took over Penn State after Joe Paterno. In that situation, he did win the Big Ten in 2016, and in 2024, he was the runner-up in the no, he did not win the Big Ten. Oh no, excuse me. I'm confusing myself. In 2016, he did win the Big Ten, but in 2024, he lost the Big Ten championship to Oregon. So that's what happened there. So he made it to the Big Ten championship twice. He won the 2016, lost the 2024. At Vanderbilt, he went in 2011 6-7, 2-6. 2012 9-4, 5-3, and in 2013 he went 9-4, 4-4, and he made a bowl game each year where he went 2-1 in the bowl games. At Penn State, he was there for a long time. He was there from 2014 until this past season. In 2014 he went 7-6, 2-6. 2015 he went 7-6, 4-4. 2016 he went 11-3, 8-1, which again he won the Big Ten. 2017 he went 11-2, 7-2. 2018 he went 9-4, 6-3. 2019 he went 11-2, 7-2. 2020 went 4-5, 4-5. That was the shortened season. In 2021 he went 7-6, 4-5. In 2022 he went 11-2, 7-2. In 2023 he went 10-3, 7-2. And in 2024 he went 13-3, 8-1. Again, did make the Big Ten championship, but ended up losing to Oregon. And then he ended up making the college football playoffs semifinals where they lost to Notre Dame, if I remember correctly. And then last but not least was last year, the disappointing year where they were 3-3, 0-3, had the bad loss to UCLA, which kind of sparked this whole James Franklin being fired. Again, where he was let go. He made a bowl game every year, but the shortened season of 2020, which was big. His overall collegiate coaching record was 104-45, which is actually really great, especially being at Vanderbilt for a period of time. And he was 8-7 in bowl games, which kind of leads to the stigma of James Franklin not being able to win big games. He was 2-1 in the college football bowl, CFB playoffs, so college football bowl games, and 6-6 in regular bowls. And I put here, he's an offensive-minded head coach who has a narrative of choking in big games, which is true. But at Virginia Tech, they just want you to have big games. Virginia Tech has not been in a big game in a long time. I looked it up. The last time they made the ACC championship was 2016. But they, like I said, love to be back in those big games. Had huge success at both programs, Penn State and Vanderbilt. And he's going to be able to recruit the same areas he was recruiting at Penn State while being at Virginia Tech, which is why I thought this was a great hire. I gave it an A. I think this is a great hire. While James Franklin, again, not a great record in big games, Virginia Tech just want to be in those games at the moment. Then when you consistently get Virginia Tech in big games, then they're going to expect you to win them. But right now, they just want to be in them. And James Franklin is a good enough coach to have Virginia Tech near the top of the ACC in big games, fighting for a spot in the ACC title game. Now, unfortunately for them, Miami might be back in that golden era. But fortunately for them, Miami, for some reason, cannot seal a deal to make an ACC championship game. Miami made it to the national championship game, didn't even play for an ACC title, and then last year, unfortunately, blew a chance to play for an ACC title as well. So, I gave it an A. I love the hire, man. I really do. I think James Franklin can bring Virginia Tech to some of the glory days of not necessarily Vic, because Vic made a national championship game. I ain't going that far, but he could bring them to some glory days of back in yesteryear. So I gave it an A. I love the hire for Virginia Tech. And that is the last hire we have in the ACC. We're going to move on now to the Big Ten, where we have 4 new hires in the Big Ten. And we're going to start with Michigan's Kyle Whittingham. And in goes Kyle Whittingham. Out goes Sharon Moore, which we all know Sharon Moore had a crazy situation. I believe he actually was found like not guilty or whatever the case may be. I'm not here to talk about that. That's drama. I don't really want to get too much into the drama of things. But like I said, in comes Kyle Whittingham. And Kyle Whittingham, the way he got this job was kind of crazy. So Kyle Whittingham announces to Utah and to the NCAA that he's retiring from coaching football. He's done. I'm over it. I'm done. But then the Michigan job opens, and he magically wants to coach football again. Which, salute to him. I mean, Michigan is a better job than Utah. But, I mean, he's been at Utah for like 20-plus years, if 20 years. And to magically get that itch to coach again, I just feel like, did he announce the retirement knowing something was up afoot? Who knows? But in any case, that's how he got to Michigan. He retired from Utah and took the Michigan job. This is the only other job, like I said, he's been at Utah for years. This is the only other job he's had. He spent 20 years at Utah as a head coach, 31 years in total at the university in some type of capacity. So 20 as a head coach, the other 11 as a part of the staff. He's a head coach from 2005 to 2025. Overall record of 177 and 88 and 109 and 70 in conference amongst the multiple conferences, Mountain West, Pac-12, and Big 12. He was 11-6 in bowl games, and he has the most wins all time as a head coach at the University of Utah. So salute to him. He won the Mountain West in 2008. He won the Pac-12 in 2021 and 2022, and he won the Pac-12 South in 2015, 2018. 2019 and 2021. Now you might be saying, Carl, he made the Pac-12 championship in 2022. How he didn't win the Pac-12 South? There was no divisions in 2022. They got rid of the divisions in 2022. It was just straight up top 2 teams make the Pac-12 championship in 2022. So that's why he has no division championship there, no division championship there in 2022. He just made the championship and won it. He did lose both Rose Bowl games after that, though. Won to Ohio State and won to Penn State. So, no nacho, because, shoot, he made it. But just throwing that out there. He was the 2008 AFCA Coach of the Year and the Mountain West Coach of the Year in 2008. Bobby Dowd Coach of the Year in 2019. Pac-12 Coach of the Year in 2019 and 2021. So, multiple Coach of the Year recognitions for Kyle Whittingham. He's only had 3 seasons at Utah where they were under 500, and that was 2012 where he went 5-7, 3-6, 2013 where he went 5-7, 2-7, and 2024, which that was the year Cam Rising got hurt, and they went 5-7, 2-7. That was the year they tried to use. They was trying to find a quarterback so badly. I remember Zach Wilson brother, I think his name is Isaac Wilson. I can't remember who else, but they were desperately looking for a quarterback, never really found it. That had a bad year that year. He did lead an undefeated season in 2008 where they went 13-0, 8-0, and beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl to finish number 2 in the country. So that was big, and that is still big for Utah. So salute to him for that. He's had 8 double-digit win seasons. That is big. He's a real good defensive-minded head coach who had good defenses at Utah, even dating back to just last year. Will have access to a ton of talent and recruiting and resources because Michigan, man, the way he got the job, kind of weak. Maybe it's a little MSU bias, maybe not. I feel like it's kind of weak, but it is what it is. You still got it. But all in all, a great landing spot for him. I originally wrote an A-. I'm gonna rate an A. I'm gonna rate an A. I'm gonna give it an A. He's a great coach, and he's going to have so much talent at Michigan. So I think he's going to put together a great product on the field, especially defensively, unfortunately for me. But I think this is a great hire. We can move on, though, to Michigan State. And in goes Pat Fitzgerald, head coach, former head coach of the Northwestern Wildcats. Out goes Jonathan Smith. Man, when I revisit my coaching carousel episode on this year, I'm gonna have to eat some crow because I think I gave this a B minus. That was an F. Jonathan Smith at Michigan State was an F. Didn't even make a bowl game. But in comes Pat Fitzgerald trying to clean up the mess. That's not really Jonathan Smith's fault. Jonathan Smith tried to clean up the mess of Mel Tucker and the whole Brenda Tracy situation. It's just a tough mess to clean up. We weren't necessarily on the we kind of were on the ups before it happened. Kind of. We did have that bad year after the Kenneth Walker year, but nonetheless, we got a lot of cleaning up to do, and I think Pat Fitzgerald is the guy for the job. Previous head coaching job at Northwestern, which was his only other head coaching job, another Big Ten school. At Northwestern, he was the head coach from 2006 to 2022. Okay, let's go ahead and get you out of here. But anyway, head coach from 2006 to 2022. We started at Northwestern. He started at Northwestern in 2001 as a DB coach. He was also a great linebacker for Northwestern back in the day. So, again, shout out to him. He has the most wins by far as a head coach in Northwestern history with 110. The next closest to him in wins is 49 wins. I didn't write his name down, but he only had 49 wins, and that's the next closest. Overall record was 110 and 101 with a conference record of 65 and 76, which yeah, for sure. That's why I got him up out of here. Salute to you, Grazino family. For sure. But definitely, even if Northwestern, I get it, his conference record wasn't above 500, but I mean, he's at Northwestern, bro. You're going against the Michigan. Well, he was in the Big Ten West, but still, you're going against the Michigans at times, and you're going against Ohio States at times. And then before Big Ten West, there was leaders and legends. So it was a bunch of division shakeups in the Big Ten, and for him to even have close to a 500 record in conference at Northwestern is a good job within itself. And to have an above 500 record at Northwestern, period, is a great job within itself. He was 5-5 in bowl games, and he won his last 4 bowl games before he was let go due to an unfortunate circumstance, which he was vindicated upon, which I'll talk about in a little bit. He won the Big Ten West in 2018 and 2020, but however, he never won the Big Ten championship. He lost the Big Ten championship in 2020. I do remember to Ohio State in 2018. I can't remember who he lost to. I want to say that was possibly Ohio State as well, but I remember for a fact 2020 was Ohio State. He also had 2 guys get drafted in the first round that year, Greg Newsome and Rashawn Slater. Great, both still in the league right now. After that, his highest finished rank in the country was number 10, which was 2020 as well. He had 3 people get drafted that year, though. I can't remember the third, but he had 2 on the first round. Last 2 seasons at Northwestern, he did finish 4-20 and 2-16, which kind of made it easier for them to let him go after that circumstance. He had 3 10-win seasons at Northwestern, which was 2012, 2015, and 2017. He won the Bobby Dow Coach of the Year in 2020. He was cleared of the hazing allegations at Northwestern, so he was let go not because necessarily how bad Northwestern was. He was let go because there was rumors that there's a lot of hazing going on and favoritism, and if you wasn't one of his guys, you got treated poorly. But ultimately, it was ruled that wasn't happening. There was no evidence of things like that going on under his watch, and he was clearly vindicated. And good. I always believe in innocent until proven guilty. They kind of, in my opinion, treated him guilty until proven innocent, and it kind of worked out because the coach they have now is really good. I think his name is David Braun, but yeah, that was kind of an unfortunate stain on his reputation. I'm glad that the stain has been removed. And the last 3 years, from 2023 to 2025, he was a volunteer assistant at Loyola Academy, which is in Illinois. Shout out my boy Luke. That is his alma mater. I think they won a championship with his son at quarterback. Shout out my boy Vaughn being in the comment section. But ultimately, I said the head coach who was cleared of the hazing allegations, which was the reason why he was fired, had tons of success at Northwestern and will have better resources at MSU, but is having to pull MSU out of a dark hole. I put big hole, but you might as well put dark hole because it's bad right now. But I ultimately gave it an A-. I have way more faith in Pat Fitzgerald than I did in Jonathan Smith, as you can see by the grade differences. I didn't even give Jonathan Smith an A. But I think Pat Fitzgerald, Big Ten guy, Big Ten player, was a Big Ten coach for 16, 17 years. He knows what it takes to win in the Big Ten. He hasn't won the Big Ten, but he's won in the Big Ten, if that makes sense. He didn't win the actual championship, but he made it to 2 Big Ten championship games at Northwestern, which is crazy. So I think he's going to help us get out of this hole. At least for a fact, I think he's getting us to a bowl game. So I gave us an A- here. I love the hire. I'm very excited. And he got a tough schedule. I'm not guaranteeing you a bowl game this year because our schedule this year is tough. Oh my, I see why our win total was at like 3.5. But down the line, I think Pat Fitzgerald is going to have us back to the golden era when I was a college, when I was going to school at Michigan State, man. At Michigan State, we won the Rose Bowl. We won the Cotton Bowl when I was at MSU. Made the playoffs. I think he can at least get us to some of that. But we're going to move forward in the Big Ten. And we're going to go to Penn State, where Penn State hires Matt Campbell, where Matt Campbell's motto is 5-star work over 5-star talent. And it worked for him a ton at Iowa State. He's going to have more access to some more 5-star guys at Penn State for sure, but they're normally a blue-collar team as well with the work and effort and everything like that. Matt Campbell came from the University of Iowa State or Iowa State University. Don't want to, for alumni and everything purposes. That was his previous job. But before taking the Iowa State job, he was at the University of Toledo, where he did an excellent job as well. At Iowa State, he went 72, 55, and 50 and 40. And he turned around Iowa State from 2016 to 2025. While at Toledo, he went 35 and 15, 24 and 8. And he coached at Toledo from 2012 to 2015 and basically kept the baton going for years of good things to come at Toledo. His overall coaching record is 107 and 70 with a conference record of 74 and 48, and that's both in the Big 12 and the MAC. He's 5-5 in bowl games. He, however, did not win the Big 12. He came close, not last year, but 2 years ago, where they played Arizona State. They got spanked, but he made it. He's the MAC Coach of the Year in 2015. He won the Big 12 Coach of the Year 3 times in 2017, 2018, and 2020. He won the MAC West in 2014 and 2015. So he won the MAC West. Did not win the MAC, unfortunately, at Toledo. But he won the MAC West, made it to the MAC championship, just did not get it done. At Toledo, in 2011, he went 1-0. He took over for a bowl game and won it. In 2012, he went 9-4, 6-2. 2013, he went 7-5, 5-3. 2014, he went 9-4, 7-1. 2015, he went 9-2, 6-2. And he went 2-1 at bowl games in Toledo before moving on to Iowa State, where at Iowa State, he went 3-4 in bowl games. He lost the Big 12 championship in 2024 and 2020. He's an offensive-minded head coach with 5-star work ethic or 5-star talent, like I said, the mantra, but will now have access to more 5-star talent. He brings over talent with him, Rocco Beck being one of the main guys coming over him, his quarterback. Has high expectations, which is the first, I believe, because at Iowa State, yeah, you want to win games. You want to win the Cyhawk, which he did win the Cyhawk game last year. But I don't think they have expectations of a natty. I don't think they have expectations of the Big 12. They want to compete in the Big 12. They want to compete for a Big 12 championship, but they're not expected to win a Big 12 championship. At Penn State, you're expected to get you a Big 10 championship, which James Franklin did do. It was 10 years ago, but he got it done. And he made it to the Big 10 championship in 2024. You're expected to win a Big 10. You're expected to make the playoffs. You're expected to be a double-digit win season. You're expected to have a ton of success on that football field at Penn State. So I think the expectations this year is going to be higher than Matt Campbell's ever dealt with. But he's been successful at both stops. I gave it an A. I love it. I love it for Penn State. I think Matt Campbell, his work ethic, he instills in guys. The guys he can recruit. Namely, he got guys like Breece Hall, Alan Lazard. I'm trying to think of guys like I know guys, but I want to think Brock Purdy. But I want to say guys like you'll be like, oh, why you? I don't want to say guys like because I can say guys like Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, and you be like, who are those guys? They play receiver for the Texans. I can say Xavier Hutchinson. You gonna be like, who's that? He plays for the Texans as well. But he's been able to find receiver NFL talent at Iowa State, TJ Tampa on the Ravens. So I think he's going to have a lot of success at Penn State. I love it. And I can see him winning a Big Ten championship. This is probably a hot take. I can see him winning a Big Ten championship at Penn State. And we're going to move on to our last Big Ten new hire. And that is UCLA is hiring coach Bob Chesney from JMU. So out goes Deshaun Foster, which, that was a disaster. Tim Skipper as an interim head coach actually did a solid job with UCLA last year. He was just an interim. And I feel like Bob Chesney was a way better selection. No offense to Tim Skipper, but when I read off Bob Chesney's accomplishments, which took up over half this page, you'll probably agree with me. Yeah, and Bob Chesney had JMU in the playoffs. So salute. But anyway, it is Bob Chesney at UCLA, where again he was previously at JMU, but that was not his only head coaching stop. He's been at the D3 level, he's been at the D2 level, and he's been at the FCS level. D3 he was at, and I never heard of this college or school in my life, Salve Regina. He was at Assumption College D2 wise, and he was at Holy Cross at the FCS level. His overall coaching record is 132-52 with a conference record of 94-23. Now, some of the D3 things I was looking at, again, it's D3, so I'm not fully in the know, and some of the conference record stuff was kind of hard to follow. So I did as best as I could with that stuff. But he was 2-1 in bowls, 3-3 in the D2 playoffs, 2-3 in the FCS playoffs, and he will obviously went 0-1 in the college football playoffs. But that's not a bad thing, considering the fact that 0-1 was at JMU taking on the Oregon Ducks. Who are you picking in that game? You're picking the Oregon Ducks easily. And I feel like JMU actually, I ain't going to say put up a fight. They did for a little bit. But I think they performed well, given the fact they were going against the Oregon Ducks. But I digress. He was a two-time NE10 champion, where he won in 2015 and 2017. They won the Patriot League 5 straight times at Holy Cross, 2019 through 2023. And he won the Sun Belt in 2025. So he's won a championship at basically every level he was at. A conference championship, I should say. At every level he was at, basically. I think he didn't win it at Salve Regina. I'm not sure. But that's good. That's kind of Kurt Signetti-esque. I don't want to keep throwing guys in that category, though. I got to figure somebody else because Signetti, to me, is just 2 up here. But anyway, y'all get my point. He was a 2-time NE10 Coach of the Year in 2015 and 2017. The 3-time Patriot League Coach of the Year in 2019, 2021, and 2022. He was the Sun Belt Coach of the Year last year, which was 2025. At Salve Regina, he went 23-9 and 18-6 in conference or whatever. 2010, he went 6-4, 5-3. 2011, he went 8-3, 6-2. And he won the WECAC Northwest, whatever that meant. I had no idea what that meant. I'm sorry. But in 2012, he went 9-2, 7-1, and he turned them around. Salve Regina had 8 straight losing seasons before Bob Chesney. And they didn't have a losing season under Bob Chesney. So to go from 8 straight losing seasons to not even having a losing season under him shows how good of a head coach he is. Then he went 44-16, 36-9 at Assumption College. When 2013, he went 6-5, 6-3. 2014, he went 7-4, 6-3. 2015, he went 11-2, 8-1. And he lost in the D2 second round of the playoffs. 2016, he went 9-3, 8-1, where he lost in the first round of the D2 playoffs. In 2017, he went 11-2, 8-1, where he lost in the quarterfinals in the D2 playoffs. Again, if you notice the pattern, no losing season while at Assumption College, which, again, that means he hasn't had a losing season yet as a head coach. Now, we go on to Holy Cross, where he went 44-21 and 28-4 in conference. Again, this is where he won 5 straight conference titles. In 2017, 2018, he went 5-6, 4-2, which is his only losing season as a head coach. Only losing season. 2019, he went 7-6, 5-1. He lost in the FCS first round of playoffs. 2020, 2021, that was the shortened season where they kind of like I want to say that was like the spring season, if I'm not mistaken. Shout out to Sam Houston. They won that championship that spring season. That joint was lit. I did watch it. 3-1, 2-0. They lost in the first round of the FCS playoffs. 2021, they went 10-3, 6-0, lost in the second round of the FCS playoffs. 2022, he went 12-1, 6-0, lost in the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs. And 2023, went 7-4, 5-1. I think they say he did not make the playoffs, or maybe he didn't coach in it. But either way, his only losing season in 12, 13 years was in 2018. Then we have JMU, where he went 21-6, 12-4 in conference. And his worst season was his first year, where he went 9-4, 4-4, did not make the Sun Belt championship game. Then last year, he went 12-2, 8-0, did not lose to a group of 5 teams. And his only 2 losses were to Louisville, which is an ACC team. That was like week 2 of the regular season. And he lost in the playoffs to Oregon, which made the playoffs. And they also shut out Texas A&M. Didn't shout out JMU, but shout out, not Texas A&M, Texas Tech. My apologies. Shout out Texas Tech. But he went 12-2, 8-0. Obviously won the Sun Belt, beating Troy. And he lost the college football playoff first round. So he's a defensive head coach who has thrived at every stop in his head coaching career. Only one losing season in his head coaching career since 2012. Well, since he started coaching in 2012, which is insanity. Turned around both Salve, Virginia and Assumption College. Assumption College only had 2 winning seasons in 17 years before he took over. And again, he didn't even have a losing season at that university or college. It was a university now, but at the time it was a college. Brought Holy Cross their first undefeated regular season since 1991. Had 5 straight conference championships at Holy Cross. Taken over a UCLA team who has this proven track record, but has been in the dumps of late. I gave this an A, man. I gave this a home run higher. This is an A. This is right up his alley. Turning around a program is what he does, and this is what UCLA needs. I think they hired the right guy. The only program he didn't turn around was JMU, because JMU was Signetti. He was just handed the torch. But beyond that, his other 3 stops, he turned them around. And I think he's going to do the same thing at UCLA. Now, in the Big Ten, it's going to be crazy tough to win, because you got Oregon, you got Ohio State, you got Michigan, you got Penn State, you got USC. Washington was really good this year. You got a lot of teams you got to be better than. And there's no divisions. There's just straight up 18 teams. Top 2 teams play for the conference. Can he make a conference championship? Odds probably say no. But has he defined the odds? Yes, he has. But nonetheless, I don't think that if he doesn't make a conference championship, I don't think there's any knock on him. Oh, how can I not forget Indiana? You got to worry about Indiana, who just won the Big Ten and the national championship. So odds are against him, but he's defied the odds. I give it an A. Even if he doesn't take UCLA to a conference championship, UCLA getting 9-10 wins, making possibly a college football playoff as not an automatic qualifier, as an at-large bid, that's a win. That's for sure a win. But that's a great hire to me. Read this comment from my boy Vaughn before we move to the next conference. He says, college football seems to always have a coaching carousel. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's 130-something schools, bro. Somebody's going to get fired. I mean, somebody got to be bad. Somebody's got to be bad for a while. Somebody's getting fired, bro. It is just like college basketball. There's going to be there's a college. If you think about it, there's a coaching carousel every year in every sport. NFL, NBA. It's always a coaching carousel. It's just college is so many more teams. So there's going to be so many more coaching jobs open because there's more, what's the word I'm looking for? There's more potential for somebody to be bad for a while. So, yeah, I feel what you're saying, though. But we're going to move on to the Big 12. The Big 12 had 4 as well, if I remember correctly. And we're going to start with Iowa State replacing Matt Campbell, who left to Penn State, with head coach Jimmy Rogers. Now, if this name sounds familiar, it's because he's an FCS national champion. He won a national championship at South Dakota State before taking a job at Washington State, where they did go 7-6. He went 6-6. He did not coach the bowl game in which they won, but he's been out of there. South Dakota State 2 years, Washington State 1 year. He's already at the Power 5 level. So salute to him for how quick it has been for him to reach this level. He was, like I said previously, at Washington State for 1 year and South Dakota State for 2. His overall coaching record is 33-9 and 16-1 in conference. Now, granted, his 1 year at Washington State, which I don't even count this as a conference win, he went 1-0 technically. I didn't count the Pac-12 as a conference. Excuse me. To me, they were just two independents, but they played each other and they counted it as a conference win. They beat Oregon State because Oregon State was not good, and so that counts as 1-0 in conference play. I think that's weak, but hey, I don't make the rules. I just follow. He won the FCS National Championship in 2023. Not only did he win the FCS National Championship, he went undefeated to win the FCS National Championship. Which, if you don't know, if you keep hearing me say FCS and you're confused about what that means, just if you're an older person, think of D1 AA. If you're a younger person, think of Ohio State, Oregon, Power 5, Group of 5. That's the FBS. North Dakota, well, I can't even say North Dakota State no more. They're in the Mountain West now. But South Dakota State, North Dakota, Montana State, who just won the FCS National Championship. Think of like super mid-major schools in college basketball. I can't say MAAC because they don't even have a like the A10. The A10 would be considered FCS. So it's D1 AA. Now renamed to the FCS level. That is what I'm talking about when you hear FCS. But he won the championship in 2023. Not only did he win the national championship, he also won Coach of the Year. Obviously, undefeated coach championship year. You're going to win Coach of the Year. South Dakota State, while he was there, went 27-3, 15-1. Like I said, 2023, 15-0, 8-0. 2024, he went 12-3, 7-1. He did lose in the FCS semifinals. So he made it back to the semifinals where they lost. I believe they lost to North Dakota State, who actually won it all that year. But he went 6-6 at Washington State. Again, technically 1-0 in conference. I'm not counting, but I mean technically that's how it's counted. But he did not coach in the bowl game in 2025. They did beat Utah State badly in that bowl game. However, he's a defensive head coach who has won an FCS Natty, has experience with not dealing with big time recruits, but having success. Then I mean, obviously, you're not getting 5 and 4 stars at the FCS level because they're going to take the FBS offers. And at Washington State, you're not necessarily getting the cream of the crop as well as Cam Ward. Cam Ward came from Incarnate Word. He was a 0-star recruit. We're going to more on that later. I kind of foreshadowed into something. But anyway, what did I even write? Oh, was motto of previous head coach. Because their previous head coach was Jake Dicker, and again, kind of foreshadowing into something. But I gave it a B+. I love it. I love Iowa State. Oh, no. I get it now. I was saying the 5-star work ethic over 5-star talent, which was Matt Campbell, who was the previous head coach of Iowa State. Okay, I confused myself. But anyway, I gave it a B+. Why? Because, again, he's going to be dealing with Iowa State talent pool, which may be better over the years due to a Matt Campbell and his success, but he's not dealing with the cream of the crop. And he's been really good at turning, chicken S into chicken salad, as they would say. So I think he's going to have success at Iowa State. Iowa State is not in a bad place right now. They're actually really good. The only reason why they had the year that they had last year was due to a ton of injuries on defense. If they didn't have those injuries on defense, I had them going back to the Big 12 championship. Now, obviously, that's the what-if game. We don't know that 100% certain. The way that Big 12 season played out, maybe not, because BYU and Texas Tech were both really good. Texas Tech, for sure, was still making the Big 12 championship. Could they outbid BYU or Utah? Maybe. But my point is, he's been doing really well with not the greatest recruits, and I think he's going to continue that at Iowa State because I just think he's going to get. He's a proven head coach. So I gave it a B+. Love it for Iowa State. Next, This is one of those guys. Ooh, this is the guy I was talking about earlier. Kansas State. Out is Chris Kleiman. He retired. Salute to him on his retirement, his real retirement. He's not Kyle Whittingham retirement. And in comes a quarterback I grew up watching play college football, and Colin Klein. I was a big Colin Klein fan. Colin Klein is actually the reason why I knew about Tyler Lockett and stuff. But I don't think he played with Tyler Lockett. I think Tyler Lockett played with like Jake Waters. But I actually started to like K-State a little bit because of Colin Klein. But anyway, Colin Klein. This is his first head coaching job ever. So salute to him for that. Congratulations. He played quarterback at K-State, like I said, from 2008 to 2012. He's been on K-State's coaching staff from 2014 to 2023. You might be saying 2023, 2025. Where was he? He was actually the OC at Texas A&M from 2024 to the last 2 years, 2024 and 2025. Where at Texas A&M, his offense, 2024, which was 50th in the country, averaged 30.4 points per game. And in 2025, averaged 33.8 points per game, which was 19th in the country. So you saw a drastic uptick in offense, scoring offense at Texas A&M under Colin Klein. He was the OC on K-State's Big 12 championship team. Shout out, kinda, because he's a Steeler now. Shout out to Will Howard. He was the OC when Will Howard won the Big 12 championship against TCU at Kansas State. As a quarterback, he was first team All Big 12 in 2011 and 2012. So salute to him for that. And my final synopsis, I put first-time head coach who played quarterback at a high level at his alma mater, paid his dues through the coaching staff, left and was the OC on a playoff team because Texas A&M made the playoffs last year. And man can really, he can rally the K-State community. I gave it a B. What did I say? Changes first-time head coaches' grades, being good at the position, and it being your previous school, which check. Being good at your job, which he was an OC. And when he was an OC at K-State, they won the Big 12 championship. When he was an OC at Texas A&M, the drastic uptick in points per game. Check. And last but not least, starting at your alma mater. He started his coaching career, worked his way up through the ranks at K-State, where he graduated from as a quarterback. So check. All three things, I gave it a B. It's kind of like similar to, I can't even say that because he didn't start at Syracuse. But no, he did start at Syracuse. Then he left, took a job at Siena. Kind of like Jerry McNamara. He started at Syracuse, got offered a head coaching job at Siena, took Siena to the playoffs, to the tournament. I can't believe I said playoffs. It's the NCAA tournament. And now he's at Syracuse as a head coaching job, and I love it. And it's the same thing for me for Colin Klein. So I gave it a B. I love the hire. I think he's going to do a great job. I think working with Avery Johnson, who's still there, an explosive dual threat guy, I think he's going to make some noise in the Big 12. I don't know if he's going to win it. Again, those Big 12. I mean, we got previews coming up, but I like the hire. All right, next we have Eric Morris at Oklahoma State. Previously at North Texas, which he got this job pretty fast. Out goes Mike Gundy, who was there for ages. And I'm going to say this again for the last time. It is crazy how a couple of years you can be gone. Mike Gundy, 2 years ago, had Oklahoma State in the Big 12 championship game where they lost to Texas. I believe in the last Big 12 championship before Texas and Oklahoma left. Then 2 years previous to that, they were in the Big 12 championship game against Baylor. But the last 2 years at Oklahoma State were absolutely disasters, man. You make the Big 12 championship game in 2023. 2024, you don't even make a bowl game. And in 2025, you lose to Tulsa, and you don't even win a conference game. So as much as I love to say, he had the cachet to get one more shot, I mean, like, bro, you didn't win a conference game. You lost to Tulsa. Like, that's hard to go to bat for. So I can see why they got rid of Mike Gundy. But Eric Morris was the head coach from 2023 to 2025 at the University of North Texas. He started his head coaching career at Incarnate Word, and he was the OC at Washington State in 2022. Now, this is what I was foreshadowing. I'll talk about it in a little bit. He won the Southland Coach of the Year in 2018 and 2021. He won the AAC Coach of the Year last year, 2025, which is the American Athletic Conference. He made the AAC championship game where he lost to John Summerall and Tulane, but that was not a bad team to lose to. They were a really good team. He won the Southland in 2018 and 2021, which is the conference Incarnate Word is in. His overall head coaching record is 46-34, 33-22, but he went 0-1 in bowl games, which was the First Responder Bowl, not last year, but the year before last, where Drew Mastermaker, bursted onto the scene. He went 24-18, 20-11 in conference play at Incarnate Word. 2018, he went 6-5, 6-2, lost in the first round of the FCS playoffs. 2019, he went 5-7, 4-5. 2020, 2021, that was a shortened year. Went 3-3, 3-3. 2021, he went 10-3, 7-1, lost in the second round of FCS playoffs. Then he went to Washington State, where he coached Cam Ward as an OC. And they averaged 26.1 points per game, which was 79th in the country. But you have to remember, Cam Ward, I liked Cam Ward at Washington State, but Cam Ward did not have his name at Washington State like that. Cam Ward got his name his second year at Washington State, and he really got his name at Miami. Because if you remember, before he became the number 1 overall pick, if he wouldn't have went to Miami, he was going to get drafted he was projected to get drafted in the 5th round. So just keep that in perspective. At North Texas, he went 22-16, 13-11. 2023, he went 5-7, 3-5. I believe that was with Chandler Rogers. 2024, he went 6-7, 3-5. I believe that was with Chandler Morris, who just won in the ACC. No, he did not win. He lost the ACC championship game to Duke at Virginia. And then last year, he went 11-2, 7-1. What a turnaround at North Texas. He had North Texas ranked for the first time since 1959, where they were ranked at one point 24th in the country. And he had them finishing with 12 wins for the first time ever. That was the first time ever finishing with 12 wins. Now, the 12th win, he did not coach. But obviously, 11 wins. You gotta give him credit for that 12. But he did not coach in the bowl game that they won. He's an offensive-minded head coach who's had success at both stops. He led North Texas to first 12-win season ever. Also this is what I was foreshadowing, he gave 2 zero-star quarterbacks opportunities when nobody wanted to. The first one, Cam Ward. He gave him an opportunity at Incarnate Word. Then he helped bring him over to Washington State. Then became the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 draft. Then Drew Mastermaker, just talked about him like 2 minutes ago. He gave him a shot. He played in the First Responder Bowl at SMU. Just had one of the best quarterback seasons this past year at North Texas. And now he's going to start at quarterback for Oklahoma State. That, again, was in large part to Eric Morris. So you got to give that man a ton of credit for that. And I gave it a B+, man, because he's going to have access to way more talent at Oklahoma State. And he's able to turn zero-star quarterbacks into top-notch quarterbacks at the collegiate level. I mean, Mike Gundy had Alan Bowman. Sorry, Mike Gundy, you had Alan Bowman. But he's going to have access to guys like Ollie Gordon. He's going to have access to guys like Brennan Presley, Tarek Owens. So, I can't remember my guy at DB, bro. I used to mess with bro so tough, too. I can't remember his name, though. But he's going to have access to so much talent at Oklahoma State. So I gave it a B+. I think he's good at finding diamonds in the rough, and now he's going to be able to find both diamonds in the rough and diamonds, period. So I gave it a B+. And we have our last Big 12 coaching hire, and that's the University of Utah replacing formerly retired Kyle Whittingham with Morgan Scaley. Now, this is his first head coaching job as well. There's a lot of first head coaching jobs in this coaching cycle. There's also 35 new head coaches in this coaching cycle. So there you go. But his first head coaching job, he played defensive back at Utah from 2001 through 2004, where he won the co-defensive player of the year in the Mountain West in 2004. He's been on the Utah coaching staff since 2007. He's been a defensive coordinator since 2016. Now, remember, I said Utah had a ton of good defenses. This is a big part in that. He was second team All-American And first team All Mountain West in 2004, and he was second team All Mountain West in 2003 as a player. He was 1-0 as a head coach as they won the Las Vegas Bowl against Nebraska 44-22 this past year. He was the interim coach for that. Now, as a DC, in 2016, his defense averaged 23.9 points per game allowed, which was 33rd in the country. 2017, 23.2, which was 39th in the country. 2018, 19.4 points per game, which was 17th in the country. Mind you, this is in the Pac-12, where there's a ton of offenses. 2019, 15 points per game in the country, which was 6. 2020, which was 26 points per game, which was tied 46, but that was a shortened year. 2021, 22.6 points per game, which was 35th. 2022, 21.4 points per game, which was 26th. 2023, 19.3 points per game, which was 19th. 2024, now this is the Big 12, 20.7, 25th. And 2025, 18.9, which was tied 17th. Did an absolutely outstanding job on the defense as a DC for Utah. He's a first-time head coach who's always had Utah as a stout defense. Only outlier was 2020, but beyond that, they were always a top 40 defense. Let me read. Yep, always the top 40 defense. Oh, and points per game, I should say. But anyway, and even cracked top 10, which was 2019. Also, I think that was Devin Lloyd in them. I could be wrong though. Also had a storied football career at the University of Utah and is a Utah lifer. He's played at Utah, only coached at Utah. Again, hit the 3 keys for giving this a B. First time head coach, storied career at the university, paid his dues at the university, and he can rally the community around it, and he was excellent at his job. Gave it a B. Hit the 3 check marks for me to raise it from the C- C+ area to a B. Love the hire. Hopefully it works out. I hope he kept Jason Egg and David Dampier. I'm not 100% sure on that, but love the hire. And now we're going to move on to the newly reformed Pac-12, where we had 3 new head coaching hires. And the first one we're going to talk about is Colorado State. Out goes Jay Norvell. In goes Jim Elmore, which I believe he's the guy that said the playoff stuff. I'm not 100% sure on that. But this guy, Jim Moore, did have coaching experience in the NFL. So it could be him. But anyway, he was previously the coach at UConn, where he went 27-23. UConn's independent, so no conference record. And they went 1-1 in bowls. Before UConn, he was the head coach at UCLA, and he had NFL experience with the Falcons and the Seahawks. I'm not really going to touch on the NFL experience because this is the collegiate game, but just wanted to throw that out there that he does have NFL experience. His overall college record is 73-53 with a conference record of 28-25. That comes from the UCLA days. He went 3-3 in bowls. He won the Pac-12 South in 2012, which is not the Pac-12, just the division. He went 46-30, 28-25 at UCLA. 2012, he went 9-5, 6-3. 2013, he went 10-3, 6-3. 2014, he went 10-3, 6-3. 2015, he went 8-5, 5-4. 2016, he went 4-8, 2-7. 2017, he went 5-6, 3-5. His last 2 years were not that good. Excuse me. He became an offensive assistant at UConn in 2021. He officially became the head coach in UConn the year after, 2022 to 2025, where he then took the UCLA job. Colorado State job. My Lord, great UCLA. The Colorado State job at UConn. 2022, he went 6-7. 2023, he went 3-9. 2024, he turned it around, went 9-4. And in 2025, he went 9-3, did not coach the bowl game. I can't remember if UConn won that bowl game or not, but he didn't coach it. And for my final synopsis, I put experienced defensive head coach who started off at UCLA. He had a hot start at UCLA before 2 bad seasons, got him fired. UConn, however, was the opposite. Had the 2 bad years, turned it around, gave them 2 great years, bringing some NFL talent to Colorado State. He had tons of NFL experience, hopefully bringing some NFL talent to Colorado State, which going to the Pac-12. Maybe some guys want to, play for a traditional conference. I gave it a B-. Since he's going to a weaker Pac-12 where he had some success, Maybe he can have some success here. Again, all the big teams have scattered to other conferences, so maybe he can have some success here at Colorado State. I mean, he has to deal with Boise State. That's a tough team to deal with, in that Pac-12. But it's not crazy like it used to be in the past. So he could possibly win a Pac-12 championship here with this Colorado State team. So I gave it a B minus. I know I'm giving them the respect because of the past. Old and new 101s. Appreciate you for coming through, but I'm giving them the respect, man. You know, but like I said earlier, if you don't want to say they're a Power 5 conference, I 100% get it. But I'm gonna give them their respect. But anyway, as I take some water, we're going to move on to our next coaching hire in the Pac-12, and that is Oregon State's Jamarcus Shepard, another first-time head coach. Now, out is Trent Bray, who had a horrible year last year as a head coach. I believe they started off with 0-7. They actually had a chance to beat Houston, though, who finished a 10-win team, which is crazy to me. But nonetheless, had a bad year at Oregon State. In comes Jamarcus Shepard, again, first-time head coach. Was special teams coordinator on Western Kentucky 2015 Conference USA Championship team. He was the co-OC on Purdue from 2018 to 2021. He's been under Coach Jeff Brom, which I know I love me some Jeff Brom. I think Jeff Brom is one of the top coaches in the game. Not the best, but I think he's one of the top coaches. And he was the co-OC on Purdue's Big Ten championship runner-up team that got spanked by Michigan in 2021. He was the assistant head coach for Washington's national championship runner-up team that lost to Michigan. Either 2022 or 2023. I want to say it was 2022 though, but I think it might have been the 2022-2023 season. But anyway, and he's been under Kalen. He's been with Kalen DeBoer since last 2 years at Alabama as well. So he was with Kalen DeBoer at Washington, followed Kalen DeBoer to Alabama. Has been under him for a while. And now has his own team at Oregon State. He's the first-time head coach who has worked on winning staffs. Again, Conference USA Championship. I mean, Washington won the Pac-12 the year they lost to Michigan, the runner-up, and they beat Texas in the first round of playoffs when it was only 2 rounds. So, winning staff. Taking over Oregon State, who's in a terrible spot. I put bad spot. Let's use the word terrible spot. In a weaker conference, has to make do with lesser talent. I gave it a C+. While he has been on winning staffs, he doesn't check over the 3 keys. He was a co-OC, so not flat out OC at Purdue. He was a special team coordinator, which is solid, but no way of like kind of ranking that in a sense. And he's an assistant head coach. So, I mean, I'm not going to say he wasn't great at his job, but it's kind of hard to say that he was. There's nothing really to tell you that beyond him just being on successful teams. From what I saw, he did not play at Oregon State, so that's another check gone. So I gave it a C+. I gave it the best I could for a new hire. Hopefully, he outcoaches that because I'm rooting for him. Next, and the final Pac-12 new hire, we have Washington State's Kirby Moore, and then we got the SEC, who has 6 new head coaches. But we're almost out of here. Probably be out of here in another 30, 40 minutes. But anyway, Kirby Moore is taking over Washington State, who's another first-time head coach. So, shocker, right? Again, out is Jimmy Rogers, who's taking the Iowa State job. He left to take the Iowa State job. Kirby Moore was an OC at Fresno State, where they averaged 30.6 points per game in 2022, which was 51st in the country. Then he went on to be the OC at Missouri, University of Missouri, from 2023 to 2025, where and he was a quarterback coach as well in 2023 and 2024. So he had 2 titles in 23 and 24, strictly OC in 25. 2023, they averaged 32.5 points per game, which was 28th in the country. Salute. 2024, they averaged 28.9, which was 55th in the country. And then last year, they averaged 30.2, which was 44th in the country. So a solid offensive coordinator. He's a first-time head coach who offenses put up big points, which is what Washington State is known for. If you've been watching Washington State as long as me, Gardner Minshew, Luke Falk, Anthony Gordon, Cam Ward, they have been known for putting up some points. Defensively, on the other hand, they have been known to get blurred, as the kids say. I remember, was it not Jimmy Rogers, Jimmy Lake, I think his name was. Whoever was the DC for Washington one year in the Apple Cup was like, we normally like fry them offensively, basically because their defense is like not good. But yeah, so Washington State's known for putting up points, put up a lot of passing yards and stuff like that. It's not known for defense. He's going to need a great DC, which I don't know who he currently has at DC. That's more of a preview show type thing, which has also been a problem at Washington State. Can see them being successful in new Pac-12. I gave him a B-. Now, you might be thinking, Carl, how'd you go above a C+ for Kirby Moore, but not Marcus Shepard? Again, these numbers are pretty good. 51st in the country at Fresno State is not something to sneeze at. 44th at Missouri is not something to sneeze at either. Missouri is not necessarily these as good of an SEC team they've been these last couple of years, and I'm attributing some of that to Kirby Moore. Drinkowitz has done a great job as well, but I'm attributing some of that to Kirby Moore as well as an OC. So that's why I went above a C+ to a B-. I think he's been doing his job really well. No roots with the program and nothing like that, but he checks off at least one key for me. So I'm going to give him a B-. And that is it for the Pac-12 as we move on to our final conference, the SEC. And we're going to start with Arkansas. The Arkansas Razorbacks, who hired head coach Ryan Silverfield from the University of Memphis. Out is Sam Pittman. And I said it in season last year. I'm going to say it again. His players kind of is the reason why he got fired. Because every time the game got close, somebody fumbled. Somebody did something stupid. It's like, yes, sometimes undisciplined players is coaching, but sometimes it's just like, it's players too. Like, when are we going to not just start blaming players as well? And I feel like his players didn't do him justice this last year. Now, this last year ain't the only year that got him fired. Yeah, the year previous. I mean, the year previous, he did win a bowl game against Texas Tech with Taylor Green at quarterback, but it ain't just, I don't know. I feel like the KJ Jefferson years were kind of underwhelming, and then last year was kind of like the icing on the cake. But anyway, his only other head coaching job, like I said, was Memphis. He went 50-25, 27-21 at Memphis with a 4-1 bowl record. He had 2 double-digit winning seasons at Memphis, which was 2023 and 2024. Now, some slights to Ryan Silverfield was that although he's had these great, win-losses, he's had an above 500 record in the AAC at Memphis, 4-1 bowl record. He's 12-20 against teams above 500. So that's a knock. Some people hold it against him that he never played for the American Athletic Conference Championship. I necessarily don't. Willie Fritz at Tulane had Tulane rocking. And unfortunately, after Willie Fritz left, you deal with a buzzsaw and John Summerall. Navy got good. Army won an American Athletic Conference Championship, which shout out to them. Not Tom Monken. I forgot. His last name is Monken. Jeff Monken. They won a title. But SMU won a title as well. Like, shout out to them. They broke a curse. I'm blanking on the head coach's name. He coached at Miami for a while. Ace Rhett Lashley. There we go. Shout out to him, but I don't really hold it against him. Memphis is a very competitive team in that conference. It's just tough. It's the best group of 5 conference in my opinion. So, but anyway, in 2019 he went 0-1. He coached the bowl game and lost, which was the only bowl loss. 2020 he went 8-3, 5-3. 2021 he went 6-6, 3-5. 22 he went 7-6, 3-5. 23 went 10-3, 6-2. I believe that was a 9-win regular season. I think he won his bowl game in 2023. 24 he went 11-2, 6-2. I think that was a 10-win season. Didn't even get him to a championship. So like it's tough. And then last year, which was you could say disappointing because you lost that UAB game, which you should have lost. They went 8-4, 4-4. If you want to say that year was kind of underwhelming, which an 8-4 season being underwhelming is crazy, but he did go 4-4 in conference. I can give you that. But ultimately, I put an offensive-minded head coach who had some success as a head coach. Didn't make a conference championship, but did have some good teams, just missed out. Has to be better against better competition, but will have better recruits being an SEC coach. Great bowl record, however, and he did beat Arkansas. Again, Mike Washington did fumble for Memphis to get the ball and win. By Brandon Lewis getting the first down. I gave it a B minus. He does have some NFL experience as well, but I gave it a B minus. I'm not super home run higher, but he is going to have better talent. He is going to be he does have some success, and he's going to have to turn Arkansas around from the punching bag last year to a puncher. I mean, really, right now in the SEC, who's a punching bag right now? I wouldn't say there's any punching bags in the SEC because Vandy just had a 10-win season. South Carolina sucked, but we were in a lot of games. We blew the Texas A&M game. Shouldn't have blew that, but we were in some games. LSU game, we was in that. I don't think the SEC has a punching bag. So beyond like the Arkansas, I wouldn't even call Auburn a punching bag. They haven't been up to standard, up to snuff, but they're not a punching bag by any means. But I gave it a B minus. I'm not like super moved by the hire, but I don't think it's a bad one either. Next, I love this hire, man. Shout out to I love this, man. Auburn. In goes Alex Golish. Out is Hugh Freeze, which I think I gave this an A during the carousel. Oh, God. Oh, man. I'm going to regret doing that review. But anyway, Alex Golish, man, previously at University of South Florida, where they went 23-15, 14-10, and was 2-0 in bowl games. One of them being a lit 5-overtime bowl win against San Jose State. Was OC/tight ends coach at Tennessee 2021 and 2022, where in 2021 they put up 39.3 points per game, which was 7th in the country. And in 2022, he put up 46.1 points per game, which was tops in the country at Tennessee. Those 2 years, goated OC years for Alex Golish, which led to the success at South Florida. In 2023, he went 76-4-4. 2024, he went 76-4-4. In 2025, he went 9-3-6-2. He did beat Florida, though. Last year, he did get a win against Florida. And before y'all say Florida sucked, which Florida did beat Texas, Florida was also like South Carolina-esque, where they were in games, just could not find ways to win them, including LSU, where they had like 5 turnovers and still had a chance to win it. But anyway, Golish had a lot of success at South Florida. He won multiple bowl games. I think he won their first bowl game since like 2017. First, I think 9-win season since 2017. Here we go right here. Won school's first bowl win since 2017 by shutting out Arkansas in the Boca Raton Bowl 45-0. He changed the program. The program was 4-29 the last 3 seasons before Alex Golish took over. Golish and finished above 500 in all 3 of his seasons there. Got USF ranked for the first time in 8 years, where they were ranked at number 18 in the country. And last year, also 9 wins, which was the most since 2017. Returning to a conference where he lit up the scoreboard, I gave this an A-. I love this hire for Auburn. 1, he brought over his guy, Byron Brown, who should be eligible to play. And then he also brought over his young receiver in Jeremiah Coger, who is a name to look out for because that kid can ball. Now, beyond that, he has access to SEC talent. He has the cachet of putting up numbers on the board, which I think a lot of young guys is going to follow that. And he has the Auburn-Alabama rivalry, where so some of these kids in that Alabama area grow up Auburn fans, become highly recruited, highly touted recruits, and they want to beat Bama. And I think, man, Alex Golish is going to put up a ton of points up at Auburn, man. I'm excited for it. A-, love the hire. We're going to move on to Florida, which the Ops. In comes John Summerall, who I called a buzzsaw earlier. Out is Billy Napier, who I don't remember if CTC was around when Billy Napier got hired. I don't think it was, so I don't have to eat crow on this air for that hire, but I was wrong about Billy Napier. I will say that. But John Summerall comes from Tulane, where he just won the American Athletic Conference Championship and made the college football playoffs, where they got spanked by Ole Miss. But no shame in that, as Ole Miss did, however, make the college football semifinals, where they lost to Miami in a tough game. So there's no shame in that. But previous to Tulane, John Summerall was also at Troy, where he won 2 Sun Belt titles. He won, like I said, conference titles at both schools. He won the Sun Belt in 2022 and 2023. And he won the AAC last year in 2025. But also, he made the AAC championship game in 2024, where they got smoked by Army. So in his 4 years as a head coach, he's made the conference championship game every year. He's won it 3 years. He's lost it once. So he's 3-1 in conference title games, which is amazing. He was the Sun Belt Coach of the Year in 2022. Had Troy ranked in the top 20 at 19 in 2022 in the AP, and he took Tulane to the playoffs. First time Troy football finished ranked since 2017 was under John Summerall. His fewest wins was 9 wins in 2024. Every other year, he was a double-digit win season. His overall record is 43-12, 28-4 in conference with a 1-2 bowl record. At Troy, he went 23-4, 14-2 in 2021. In 2022, he went 12-2, 7-1. In 2023, he went 11-2, 7-1. At Tulane, he went 20-8, 14-2. Where in 2024, he went 9-5, 7-1. And 2025, he went 11-3, 7-1. Now, he's a defensive-minded head coach who, in his very short coaching career, 4 years, has been to nothing less than a conference title. He's been nothing less than successful, taking over a program who needs a shot in the arm, also may be jaded by a coach who had huge success at the Group of 5 level because of Coach Napier, which is very valid. Napier was super successful at Louisiana Lafayette before taking the Florida job. Not very successful at Florida. He actually had an outlier of a good year 2 years ago, where they beat Tulane in the bowl game badly. Funny enough, they beat the mess out of Tulane in the Gasparilla Bowl, but Tulane starting quarterback had jetted to Duke immediately after losing the conference title game. The Army, and that was Darian Mensah, who's now in the ACC, yet again now at Miami. But anyway, has to bring toughness but discipline back to this program. I gave this an A. To me, and please don't prove me wrong, somewhere like Napier, I think this is a home run hire. I love this hire. Summerall. Now, I think the Summerall every year making nothing less to a conference title game is going to be over this year. But, man, if he can get Florida back to the good old days, he can win himself possibly a national championship. Because they obviously have tons of recruit. They can recruit the mess out of Florida, obviously, right? They're in Florida. Duh. Gainesville, Swamp. They have the tradition. They have the prestige. They have the cachet. They have all that. They just need a guy who can get the recruits and, like, winning the recruiting battle, take that and produce that on the field, which John Summerall doesn't really get the recruits like that. But he takes what he gets and he produces it on the field. I think Florida could be an SEC terror in the next couple of years. I love it. A for me. Next, we have Kentucky, which we have 2 more after this. In is Will Stein, the former OC for Oregon. Out is Mark Stoops as the head coach. Now, this is another. Notice I didn't say last. This is another first-time head coach in the SEC. Or not in the SEC, but no, this is another first-time head coach. He was previously the OC for Oregon from 2023 to 2025. Check this out. Where 2023, Oregon averaged 44.2 points per game, which was second. 2024, they averaged 34.9 points per game, which was 17th. In 2025, they averaged 36.9 points per game, which was tied for 10th. So they were always a top 20 offense, but he got them as high as second in the country. I believe that was with Bo Nix, if I'm not mistaken, where for some reason they just cannot be Washington. Michael Penix in Washington. But anyway, funny enough, he started at Louisville. He played quarterback at Louisville. Now, if you're watching this and wonder why that's funny, Louisville and Kentucky are huge rivals. He played quarterback for Louisville from 2008 to 2012. First-time head coach who was at Oregon and could bring a high-power offense to Kentucky, which they needed. I feel like Kentucky has not been doing a great job of lately recruiting a quarterback. So they can definitely use a guy who can recruit a quarterback and recruit a bunch of offensive talent. They've done a great job the last couple of years of recruiting a running back. Seth McGowan, Ray Davis, Chris Rodriguez. They've had good backs. But guys like Devin Leary, Will Levis, who was that quarterback last year? the guy from the FCS level that came back. He was at Texas A&M. I can't remember his name right now, but he was not good in my opinion at all. And I wasn't even high on bro in the offseason. But yeah, anyway, they just did not. They have not done a great job of recruiting a quarterback. So that's been their Achilles heel, in my opinion. I know they have Brock Vandegrift too. But anyway, they won't have access to highly talented recruits like Dan Lanning did at Oregon, but won't have high expectations like that either. Knows Kentucky Louisville Bluegrass rivalry, being on the other side, has to recruit a good quarterback. I gave it a C+. Now, I could have went B- because he did play for the rival, but that's not one of my 3 keys. I know he's going to have a tough time at Kentucky because Kentucky's a basketball school, but I think he can do a good job here. I'm going to give it a C+ for now, but I wouldn't be surprised if he outcoaches that grade. All right, next, we have our second to last head coaching hire. A lot of controversy with this head coaching hire, and that is LSU's Lane Kiffin. He has left after an 11-1, 7-1 season where Ole Miss had made the playoffs, did not coach in the playoffs. Going to talk about them next. But a lot of controversy. Stirred the controversy with the Ole Miss racism thing, only to find out that the LSU Tiger is named after racist ties, which is crazy. Did not know that until Ole Miss opened to Lane Kiffin opened his mouth. And I'm not saying that Ole Miss don't have racist ties because he was not wrong. But what I am saying is that was your longest tenure job of 6 years, and you had 3 other jobs previous to this one. So to me, you could have just kept it real and be like, look, LSU's a better job, better opportunity, probably more money. Why not? I feel like, bro, I would have been like, cool. Who in this society of America is not taking an increase in pay and a better job somewhere else? That is literally like climbing the American ladder. Like, and I know I'm not saying that correctly, but y'all get what I'm trying to say. But anyway, and is Lane Kiffin out as Brian Kelly? I'm not the biggest Brian Kelly fan. LSU fans weren't either, and I think good riddance. But anyway, again, previously at Ole Miss, this is his 5th collegiate head coaching job, which I think this is actually the most out of people. I think he had more jobs than anybody else on this list. No, maybe not. Maybe him and Chesney probably neck and neck. But anyway, other stops include USC, Tennessee, and FAU, where his overall coaching record is 116-53, 71-39 in conference, 4-4 in bowls. He only spent 1 year at Tennessee, where he went 7-6, 4-4, and then jetted to take the USC job. He wasn't fired; he just took another job, which sounds like him. Which again, no judgment, no shame. You did what you're supposed to do. Like, I'm not mad at you for it. But from USC, he was at USC from 2010 to 2013, where he went 28-15, 17-12. 2010 he went 8-5, 5-4. 2011 he went 10-2, 7-2, which was the apex of his USC career. 2012 he went 7-6, 5-4. In 2013 he went 3-2, 0-2, and got fired after a blowout loss to Arizona State, which, in my opinion, they kind of did him dirty. Like, they got there, I think they said they like left him at the airport. They pulled him to the side, got back on the bus, left him at the airport. They kind of did him dirty. Like, I kind of disagree with the firing, but not the firing, but the actions of how he was fired. But anyway, he then coaches at Alabama from 2014 to 2016, where he was an OC. I didn't get the numbers from his OC coaching job because, I mean, he has tons of head coaching experience. I felt like it was pointless. But they did win a national championship in 2015 with him as an OC. So salute to that. And then he takes the FAU job, and where he wins 2 Conference USA championships at FAU, 2017 and 2019. 2017 went 11-3, 8-0. Surprisingly, never won Coach of the Year, which shocking to me. I'm not lying. I felt like 2017 was definitely a year he could have won Conference USA Coach of the Year. Didn't win it. 2018 went 5-7, 3-5. And then 2019 he went 10-3, 7-1. With an overall record of 26-13, 18-6. Ole Miss, he then took the Ole Miss coaching job in 2020, where he was there until last year, which is the longest tenure job of 6 years, where he went 55-19, 32-17. He started off at Ole Miss 5-5, 4-5, shortened season. 2021, he went 10-3, 6-2. 2022 went 8-5-4-4. 2023 went 11-2, 6-2. 2024 he went 10-3, 5-3, and 2025 he went 11-1, 7-1. So he did an extraordinary job at Ole Miss. Again, making the playoffs last year, just did not coach in the playoffs last year. And I put as a note, ever since he left, he went and coached with Nick Saban at Alabama as an OC, again from 2014 to 2016. He had 6 double-digit win seasons in 9 years as a collegiate head coach, 2 at FAU and 4 at Ole Miss. He's an offensive-minded head coach who has been doing a great job since leaving Alabama. Has access to better recruits than Ole Miss, and more resources at LSU. Has tons of pressure due to how he left Ole Miss and being at a better program, but he's going to have to I don't want to say turn around LSU. It's just LSU did not live up to snuff last year at all, especially offensively, and that's his his calling card. I gave it an A+. I think this is maybe the only A+ coaching grade I gave this episode. Gave it an A+, man. He's going to have so much defensively he can work with. He's hired a great defensive coordinator, who we're about to talk about in a second, Pete Golden. So I trust his coaching staff hiring. Then the recruits he's going to have available to him at LSU is just out of this world. And he's a proven commodity as an offensive-minded coach. He's an innovator. He recruits guys. He took Trinidad Chambliss from Ferris State. Look at how good he was. Jackson Dart was going to ride away at USC before he came to Ole Miss. Didn't understand how he wasn't starting over Keaton Slovis. Turned Jackson Dart into a first-round pick. So he has an eye for quarterback talent. Gave it an A+. I love it. And we are on our last coaching hire. Again, if you have still been rocking with me, I appreciate that. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. It's been fun. It's been a time. I figured we were going to be here a while. Like I said, it took me 4 or 5 hours to write this up. So I knew I was going to be here for a long time. But anyway, we have our last head coach. And that is Pete Golding being hired by Ole Miss. Obviously, out is Lane Kiffin. In steps Pete Golding. The last first-time head coaching job for me to announce tonight. But this is his first-time head coaching job. He went 2-1 in the playoffs. He beat Georgia. Well, Ole Miss beat Georgia. And they beat Tulane before they lost to Miami in the semifinals. And that was a tough loss. Tough game. That was a great game to watch. But he was the DC / inside linebackers coach for Alabama from 2018 to 2022. And then from 2023 to 2025, he was also the DC / inside linebackers coach for Ole Miss. Now, some numbers while he was the DC. At Bama, 2018, he went 18.1 points per game, which was 12th in the country. 2019, 18.6 points per game, which was 13th in the country. 2020, which I believe the year they won the national championship, 19.4 points per game, 13th in the country. 2021, 20.1 points per game, which was 18th in the country. And 2022, 18.2 points per game, which was 9th in the country. And you might be saying, Carl, that's Alabama. That's with Nick Saban. That's easy to do, right? But then we go to Ole Miss for 2023 to 2025. Ole Miss ain't necessarily known for defense, right? 2023, tied 34th in the country at 22.1 points per game. 2024, 14.4 points per game, which was 2nd in the country. And then last year, 21.1 points per game, which was 37th in the country. Got it done at Ole Miss too. So he's a defensive head coach who team celebrated when he was announced as the head coach. Got Ole Miss as high as 2nd in the nation in points per game allowed, which was insane, and gave Ole Miss a real belief they could win it all. This is the first time I'm giving a first-time head coaching job hire an A. Now, granted, it's kind of cheating because he went 2-1 in the playoffs. But dang it, the energy he gave Ole Miss, the players rallied around him. They wanted him as the head coach. You got guys like Kawan Lacey coming back because of him. Trinidad Chambliss because of him. These guys are fired up and play for him. I gave it an A. I think he's going to keep Ole Miss afloat as a coach. I love the hire. The players love the hire. The community, I'm pretty sure, loves the hire. I gave it an A. And with that being said, that is the last head coaching hire this year in the college football coaching carousel. What an episode. Again, I appreciate anybody that stuck with me through this hour and 35-minute plus episode. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, it helps the network, it helps my channel, CTC, part of the Refuse to Lose network. On this network, we have multiple shows. The main show now featuring your boy Antamo as the main guest, the main host, and we will have rotating guests. We have No More Unfazed, unfortunately, but we still have BWT, Baseball with Teddy. We still have RBO, Real Ballers Only, which we had our mock draft yesterday, me and Vaughn. So make sure, not yesterday, 2 days ago. We started at an hour and a half before the draft on Tuesday. So if you want to see how we did, which don't mind in the trash after the first 5 picks, I got something right, but whatever the case, check that out. We have Dave's Doghouse. We have Football with Coach Coombs. We have Zero Sports Talk with Griffey. We have In the Red Corner with Ty, Ricky, and Tomo. And we have AJ's Birds, a part of the network. So, which is on AJ's Timeout, Full Timeout channel. So we got a lot of shows with y'all coming at y'all still. So please like, comment, share, subscribe to those shows as well. But with that being said, I will not have a show next week. I will be at a family reunion. I don't have a show. I will still be a part of the main show next Monday and Thursday, but CTC is going to be on a break because after next week, we right at 2026, 2027 previews, man. We got the ACC preview in 2 weeks featuring Ace and Dave. Can't wait. Always fun doing preview shows because right after the previews, we got week 0. So we are that much closer to college football being back, and I'm so excited. Can't wait. But with that being said, it's late. And I need to drink some water, but I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.